Would you vote if you knew it meant your voice would be taken away forever? The women of Athens didn't know, and it cost them everything. And the stage for this story, the reason why Greek democracy was flawed from the very start, is a monument we all know.
And there it is, perched on the rock, protecting the city like it's always done. The Acropolis of Athens, Pericles' crowning glory, but for me, also a dear friend. For the 3 years I spent here in Athens, she has been my constant companion on the horizon. I miss her. And now I will go up to uncover all her secrets, especially the stories that Pericles didn't want us to know.
You know what's the problem with a monument like the Acropolis? It's so well known that people think they've already discovered all the secrets.
Most people, when they come here, see the crowning jewel of Pericles' politics, see a beautiful reminder that Europe was born here. And I see all those things, but I also see something else. I see here the place where women lost their voices. Okay, that was an ominous comment.
So let's tell the story from the very beginning.
Once upon a time, that beautiful, sprawling city that you see behind me wasn't called Athens. It was called Cecropia,
a name derived from its wise founder and king, Cecrops. Born directly from the earth, from Gaia herself, he was half man, half snake, a perfect blend of human wisdom and the ancient power of the earth itself.
And I know what you're thinking. A bit egocentric to name an entire city after himself, right? Well, that's fashion for you.
And honestly, Cecrops was a total trendsetter, starting a brand naming craze that gods and heroes would be copying for centuries. Cecrops ruled this city, Cecropia, and all of Attica with wisdom and fairness. He introduced his people to marriage, law, and the art of deciphering the gods' will and the flight of birds. Under his steady hand, the region flourished. Soon, word of this civilized jewel reached the very gates of Mount Olympus.
At this time, the gods were coming down from Olympus, trying to divide the earth under their protection.
As the gods desired mortal domains for worship, Cecropia was a prime target. Rich in content, the city promised abundant sacrifices.
2 gods came forward for the honor of becoming the patron deity of the city. Both were good offers. And so a contest was proposed that the 2 gods would come forward with gifts, and King Cecrops would decide which gifts would suit his city better, and then choose accordingly which patron god to have.
Weighing in with the sheer force of all oceans, holding the mighty trident, the Earthshaker, Poseidon, and his challenger, the perfect balance of brain and brawn, born of Zeus alone, bearing the brilliant Aegis, Athena.
Poseidon went first. With a mighty throw, he struck the earth with his trident, and where he struck it, water came out. Everybody wooed and added. This was a mighty gift. Every city needed water, so by gifting them a source of water on their sacred rock, Poseidon was understanding the need of the citizens. And then somebody took a sip and realized that it was salt water. I mean, who needed salt water? The sea is right there. And then it was Athena's turn to come forward. she softly kneeled onto the earth and planted a seed. The seed immediately sprouted and became an olive tree. Now, this might have looked slightly less of a flex than Poseidon creating water from rock, but Athena's gift was a more thought of one.
The olive tree is an ideal resource for Attica. It thrives in the climate while providing essential food, precious oil, fuel for fire, and wood for building.
This was a gift that the people could use. This was the gift that Cecrops chose. And with the gift, the patron deity. The city would now be renamed Athens in the name of her new patron deity, Athena.
And that's a clean ending to a riveting story, right? New name, new patron deity, new chapter for an already prosperous city.
So why did I say that the thing I can see on the Acropolis is the place where the women lost their voices? It all has to do with another version of the same myth. The contest is the same. The two gods vying for the city are the same. The gifts are the same. What changes is that it's not King Cecrops that judges the context, but the citizens of Cecropia themselves.
The city splits right down the middle. The men are dazzled by Poseidon's show of raw power, but the women see Athena's gift for what it truly is: food, oil, fuel, and a long-term future for the city. So when it's time to decide, every man votes for the god of the seas, and every woman for the goddess of wisdom.
And it so happens that there is one woman more than the men, so Athena wins. Did I mention that Poseidon is really a sore loser?
Defeated in the contest, Poseidon's humiliation curdled into divine rage. If he couldn't be the city's patron, he would be its coward. He lashed out, unleashing a devastating flood to drown the plains of Attica.
It was a disaster of apocalyptic proportions, and the men were aghast. It was clear to them that Poseidon should have won. It was all the women's fault.
Terrified, the men prayed,
Great Poseidon, spare us.
And to appease the god's devastating wrath, they made a terrible bargain. They promised Poseidon that from that moment on, the women who had won the city for Athena would be silenced. They would lose their right to vote, their right to property, and even the right to pass their own names to their children.
And that's basically why, when I look at the Acropolis, I don't only see Pericles' crowning glory, but I also see the place where Athens' democracy was maybe a little less democratic than we might have imagined.
But what of the goddess who had just won? What did the city's new patron do to protect the very women who had secured her the prize?
Well, nothing. Nothing at all.
And yet, ironically, the evidence of the contest was preserved in stone, revered as the most sacred spot on the Acropolis, the Erechtheion.
This is the place of the contest. In this temples are enshrined both the gifts that Athena and Poseidon gave to the city.
According to our ancient logger Pausania, within the building there is a sea water well, and when the south wind has been blowing, the well gives forth a sound of waves, and there is the shape of a trident in the rock. Today, the physical evidence of Poseidon's gift is so subtle that it's almost tragic. All we can see is a single missing tile in the floor of the north portico, left open to the bare rock below, where the supposed mark of the trident lies. If you find Poseidon's gift underwhelming, you can console yourself with Athena's gift.
The olive tree that you see behind me in front of the Erechtheion is the tree that Athena gifted the city. Literally, that one.
To be fair, the poor tree burned down a couple of times, once during the Persian Wars and one in Second World War. Both times, though,
A shoot from the original tree grew immediately from the charred remains of the old ones, and that's why they say that this is the original tree gifted to the city by Athena. To be honest, if not for this tree, the city would have been called Poseidonia.
am I really not gonna say even one word about the Parthenon? Oh, fine. Let's talk about why it looks like this.
For almost 2,000 years, the Parthenon stood proud on top of the Acropolis. Yes, it changed deity a couple of times. It went from being the temple of the virgin goddess Athena to being the temple of the Virgin Mother Mary of the Christian faith, and then it became a mosque under the Ottomans, but still it stood proud through it all. And then on the 26th of September 1678, one Venetian gunner had one of the worst oops moment of history. He aimed the gun towards the Acropolis. He probably never thought he would hit anything, and fired. What the gunner didn't know, though, was that the Parthenon was not a mosque anymore, but had become the armory and was full to the brim of black powder. You can imagine what happened.
After the explosion, the Acropolis lay in ruins for over a century. Then, in the 19th century, the new king of Greece, Otto, formerly of Bavaria, decided to restore it to its Periclean glory, which is what we still see today, or at least what's left of it.
And yet, the Acropolis still gives up its secrets for those who are willing to listen. Because in the end, Pericles could give it a new face, but could never stop it from telling its own stories.